All right, today we're diving into Jhumpa Lahiri's incredible novel, The Namesake. It's a story that spans decades and continents, but it all comes down to one really powerful question that, honestly, a lot of us have probably thought about.
I mean, what if you really hated it? What if the name you were given felt, well, less like a gift and more like a cage, a label that you were just desperate to escape? That right there, that's the heart of the struggle for our main character.
Meet Gogol Gongoli. For him, his name isn't just a little weird. It's this constant, blinking sign that points to an Indian heritage he doesn't quite get, while also making him feel like a total outsider in his American life. His whole story is this search for an identity that finally, truly feels like his.
So, first things first. How on earth did he get a name like Gaga? Well, the story doesn't start with his birth, but with a brush with death years earlier.
See, for his father, Ashok, the name Gogol means everything. It's a symbol of pure survival. It's a tribute to the writer whose book literally saved his life when its pages were spotted fluttering in the wreckage of a horrific train crash. But here's the thing. Young Gogol knows none of this. To him, the name is just weird. It's a constant source of embarrassment. The profound meaning is completely lost in translation.
And really, Gogol's problem with his name is just a symptom of a much bigger issue. There's this massive cultural gap running right down the middle of his family's home.
It's like you have two different worlds spinning under the same roof. On one side, you've got his parents, Ashok and Ashima. They're first-generation immigrants, and for them, their Bengali traditions are everything. They're an anchor in this strange new country. But for their kids, Gogol and his sister Sonia, who were born in America, those same traditions can feel totally foreign, like a secret language they were never really taught.
And this feeling of being out of place is felt so deeply by Gogol's mother, Ashima. This quote from the book just says it all, doesn't it? This idea of a lifelong pregnancy, always waiting, always carrying this burden, never quite feeling settled. It's this quiet, constant loneliness that really defines the whole emotional world of the family. So, as Gogol gets older, all that frustration with his name and everything it stands for, it just boils over. He decides he's done. It's time to build a whole new identity from the ground up.
What we're watching here is a classic coming-of-age story. There's a fancy literary term for it, a Bildungsroman. But all it really means is that we're following someone's journey from youth to adulthood. And in Gogol's case, it is a very, very intentional effort to just tear down his old life.
And he's got a whole checklist for this escape. Step 1, the name. The second he turns 18, Gogol is gone, legally replaced with Nikol. Step 2, the location. He's off to Yale, where nobody knows his past. Then comes Maxine, and he doesn't just fall for her, he falls for her whole all-American life, her family, everything. Every single step is a deliberate move away from the Gangulis. You know, Maxine's family is like the perfect family you see in a picture frame at the store. They have this easy confidence, this history, this sense of belonging that Gogol has just craved his entire life. So getting close to them isn't just about a relationship. It's like he's trying to perform an identity transplant. He wants to erase Gogol for good and just become Nikol.
But just when Gogol thinks he's finally pulled it off, that he's successfully escaped his past, well, life has other plans.
While he's away on a teaching fellowship, his dad, Ashok, dies suddenly from a heart attack. And that one single event, it just blows up the entire world that Gogol has so carefully built. It yanks him right back into the life he tried so hard to leave behind.
And this tragedy forces him to see things differently. After the funeral, he's looking at a picture of his dad and it hits him. Because of their Hindu tradition of cremation, there's no tombstone, no single place to visit. This photograph, this is it. It's the closest thing he'll ever have to a grave. And in that moment, the world he built with Maxine feels a million miles away. He knows it's over between them because she could never cross that deep, cultural gap of grief that's just opened up in his life.
So his father's death is a total turning point. The running stops, and now, instead of trying to escape his heritage, he starts to, slowly and carefully turn back toward it.
You can actually track his whole journey through his relationships. Ruth at Yale was his first real taste of being independent. Maxime was his attempt to dive headfirst into that American ideal. Then, after his dad dies, he marries Musumi, who's also Bengali American. He's hoping he can find a connection there in their shared background. But what he eventually learns is that you can't just borrow an identity from somebody else. It has to come from you.
And that brings us to the very end of the novel, this quiet, really powerful moment. He's back in his old childhood room and finds the book his dad gave him when he was 14, The Stories of Nikolai Gogol.
And he's not running anymore. Not from the name, and not from the man who gave it to him. When he finally opens that book, he's showing us he's ready to understand his father's story, which means he's finally ready to start understanding his own.
Ultimately, Goggle's story shows us a really important truth. Identity isn't a choice between your past and your future. It's the messy, complicated, and often beautiful mix of both. It's about figuring out how to hold all the pieces of who you are all at once. And that kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? What are you going to do with yours?